Everybody from AP World History. So as you know, I'm going to be at the Model UN conference on Monday and Tuesday. So our sub-activity is actually going to be a little mini project. The idea is for us to really start to break down reasons why a specific empire during the Gunpowder Age declined. So the way we do that is create autopsies. So our bodies, if you will, that we're autopsying are empires that are in decline. Okay, and there are a few different parts to this project, so I felt like it would be easier for me to make a video rather than to write out the entire explanation. But by all means, if you're still confused after watching this instructional video, shoot me an email because I will be checking it fairly frequently at the conference. So the first thing you need to know is that you're actually going to be working together first to fill out a note chart. Because there are only 2 of us in class, I still want us to understand some of the reasons for the decline of the other empires. So as you get started, you want to fill out the chart on page 2 for every empire. All right, and let me show that to you. It may seem a little cutesy, so bear with me if you don't like it. But the idea behind this, I'm actually going to fix this so this doesn't end up on the second page for whatever reason. It'll look better once you'll see. This chart is actually going to be lined up on page 2. It looks a little different in this video. But you guys are going to work together to fill out this chart. And the reason why it's labeled by body parts is because the one that you choose, you're actually going to be labeling the different parts of this diagram. So when you take the notes, realize that you're sort of metaphorically diagramming the body here, okay? So hopefully this is self-explanatory, but where it says head, you're taking notes on the important political leaders of the empire. Hands, anything cultural that relates to art or architecture, right? In fact, I'm going to take out pen because I feel like that's also pen was part of the hands, but sort of silly. So again, this will look a little different once you get the template. I was still working it out, changing some things around to accommodate our class. So there we go. That's a little better. In fact, you'll have more room now. Feel free when you're labeling this, if you don't have enough space, you could actually highlight the entire chart and then you're going to copy it. And from there, you can open up a new document. And after you do that, you can paste the chart into this new document, and I'll show you how you can give yourself a little bit more space to work with here once this new document is loaded. Okay, so all I'm going to do here is paste. My mouse will work. Okay, so I'm just going to paste that chart. At first, the spacing, the distance and spacing may still look a little squeezed, but here's a little trick just to give yourself a little more space to work with. You can hit Page Setup from the File menu and just switch the option over to Landscape, and it should stretch out the page a little bit. And then from there, you can actually adjust the margin. And that didn't work. I think I might have to highlight the whole thing. But from there, you can actually, oh, you know what you do? Forgive my incompetence. You actually stretch it manually like that. Okay, so you can basically, depending on how much space you need, you can adjust the size of your columns accordingly. So that's an option if you feel like the template here doesn't have enough space. And then when you finish your project and hand it in, you could just submit the notes in a separate document. This part, I want you to work together on, okay? So you could actually, if you want, just divvy up the work, right? Alex, if you want to take Ottomans and Safavids, Daniel, if you want to take Mughals and Ming, if maybe the 2 of you just want to steal a couple of different categories from Tokugawa to make it even, or if one of you finishes first, you can handle Tokugawa. But you really only want to spend, I'd say, like 15 minutes filling out this part. It shouldn't be too long, okay? So this is a pretty quick part. If you're struggling for ideas, go back to your homework notes, go back to the reading, and also I'll post the relevant videos on these for you to have. So from there, after you fill out this chart, the second part is your autopsy report. So now you're going to choose one specific empire from this list, only one. Okay, so just make sure you're not choosing the same one so that you're not repetitive. And then you're going to fill out the autopsy report, which is on page 3. In fact, again, sorry about the spacing here. It got a little off. So I'm going to fix that. And then show you this little mock report. I had it all set up, and then when I started recording the video, it got funky. I guess maybe this got too big or something. Forgive Miss Sutton's technological ineptitude. Okay, perfect. Now this whole chart's on page 2. There we go. That's what it was looking like before. So here's page 3. Here's the autopsy report that you fill out for just your one empire. Okay, so first off, for patient name, again, this is obviously just a mock autopsy. It's metaphorical. That would be the name of your empire, right? So if yours is the Ottomans, you're going to put that in there. Feel free to, play with this outline, or underline rather, right? And then you're going to either type or handwrite if you prefer. If you want to handwrite, just print this out. Your information about the height and also the decline of your empire, okay? There's a sample that I'm going to show you in a second, but basically if you are taking notes on these different bullets, then that is what you need in your little patient history section. Let me show you the sample. You're going to have a copy of this in your email. It's handwritten, so it's a PDF, so I couldn't attach it to the packet. But here you see the patient history. This person wrote it in complete sentences. If you prefer, you could do it in bullet points. Just follow this format. So you're going to explain the reasons for the rise and decline, and then you're actually going to label the body, and that's part 2. This person's sample has everything squeezed onto one page. I decided for us to put the body on a second page. So when you go to page 4, you're going to see part 2 of the assignment. So I know I'm scrolling back and forth, but part 2 is the visual, right? So this is where you go back to your notes from the chart, and you can also think about the reasons that you wrote in your history. And now you're actually going to label the body according to all the different things you've discovered. Okay, so again, let's just look at this sample. This person's sample is on the page. And again, it's metaphorical. So just have fun with it. Don't take it too seriously. But again, for head, you're talking about political leaders. And so this person is labeling different political reasons why the empire declines. And they're connecting it to the head because it has to do with leadership. Right? They're actually indicating injuries, which I think is really cute and creative, right? They have little arrows. You could also, indicate some sort of, wound or something by putting a Band-Aid over them if you want. And the idea there would be to maybe explain some sort of battle injury, right? They label the person as diseased because there were plagues in Rome. You get the idea, right? This person is having a little bit of fun by labeling it, but if you're not an artsy person, don't worry. I'm certainly not. You can make it more basic too, okay? But the visual you're going to do on page 4, and you're just labeling the different things. This, I would actually really recommend you to print it out so you don't drive yourself nuts by trying to draw text boxes all over page 4. Okay, you might be able to draw text boxes. It is possible, but I'm not going to show you how to do that in that video. I'm going to leave you to your own for that. Okay. But like I was saying earlier, I encourage you to just ask me questions, send me an email if you're struggling with what to do. Break this down into reasonable chunks. You have 2 full days to do it. And here's the rubric. So here are all of the different things that I'm expecting and how I'll be assessing this. One last thing I wanted to say. On Tuesday, this class is scheduled for last period. So actually, I'm going to let you work on this at any time in the day so that if you need to leave a little bit early on Tuesday, since I'm not there and there are only 2 of you, I just want to give you the opportunity to work ahead instead of having to stay for last period. But please, please, please make sure, I know both of you, I looked at your schedules, you do have a free period during the day, so I really need you to spend that free period being productive and working on this. Otherwise, you are welcome to stay at the end of the day, but you will not actually have a sub in the room. So again, if there are any other questions, feel free to let me know via email, but just as a quick recap, you have both days to do this, and you can also, of course, take Tuesday night to work on it. The final result of this is you have that little chart filled out. Again, that you can do in groups. And then you're also going to be doing the autopsy report, the written portion, and then the visual report, which again, preferably you're going to do by printing it out so you don't drive yourself crazy with the text boxes. And ask me questions if you need to, okay? Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you in a couple of days.